Right, let's do this then. The team of the tournament for the Six Nations 2023 and the player of the tournament. As I see it anyway, and I would love to know your comments, so leave them below. Thanks for all the views and all the interaction, all the comments during the Six Nations. Loads more to come. I'm Tim, this is Egg Chasers. Massive year for rugby, and we're only just getting started, so please hit subscribe, and let's crack on then. Loosehead prop, Andrew Porter for me. Cyril Bay started quietly for France and then finished very, very strong. So he's pushing Andrew Porter all the way. Equally, Andrew Porter wasn't a perfect championship for him. In fact, the scrum creaked a couple of times. But I'll tell you what it was. The statement was that France game up against Dewini Antonio, and all the talk was about Andrew Porter's frailties. But the guy was awesome in that game, along with Finlay Bealham in the Ireland front row, and just around the park. The guy is an absolute monster. So Andrew Porter, loosehead prop. Dan Sheehan, hooker. See, I had him before this tournament. I kind of had the top three hookers in the world as Julien Marchand, Julien Montoya, and Malcolm Marx. Dan Sheehan is a very different type of hooker to those, but he is approaching that elite world-class level. He is absolutely awesome. He's like a, how was it described the other day by a mate? Hooker plus. He's a hooker plus. He does all the things a hooker needs to do and a bit more. And he is head and shoulders above himself, above anyone else as a hooker in the UK and again, an Ireland. And he even is better than Julien Marchand on current showing. He would be an absolute shoo-in for a British and Irish Lions jersey if one were picked today. Tight head prop. Quite a difficult selection here. Finlay Bealham, had he played the whole tournament, it probably would have been him to make it an all-Ireland front row. Tadhg Furlong came back. Didn't look as good as he can do, but he was just coming back, so the context is everything. I've gone for Xander Fagerson of Scotland. He was good. He can sometimes be a bit of a penalty machine, but he was a solid anchor in the scrum. A little mention for Kyle Sinclair, who was, well, he was better than I expected him to be. So, but there was no real standout in this position. Xander Fagerson has got it for me. Second row, Thibaut Flamont. No, he was a standout in this position. He was the best lock in the championships if I had to only pick one. And bearing in mind, he probably wouldn't be starting if France had all their players fit. Wokey and Willems are thought to be the starting second row partnership, but Thibaut Flamont is changing the script there. And France, well, just shows the depth they've got. Paul Willems and or Cameron Wokey may struggle to get back in the France team. We will see come World Cup time. But Flamont was absolutely awesome. Not just the line-out work he does, which was great, but he just always seems to be in the right place at the right time to take that offload, take that inside pop, to go and score the tries, which he did several times. James Ryan, his lock partner in the second row. A mention for Richie Gray for Scotland, who was excellent. But James Ryan is just quietly efficient, quietly hard, and quietly just gets on with doing his job very, very well. So James Ryan, the other lock in my team of the tournament. Again, tell me what you think so far. That's the front five done. Leave your comments, what you're saying. Charles Olivon. I know he wears a 7 on his back for France, but they don't really play traditional 7 and blindside roles. They kind of have a blend of back rowers who do lots of jobs together. Charles Olivon was absolutely majestic. He was outplayed in the first game. He was quieter in the opening rounds, but he was absolutely incredible. A shout for Sebastian Negri of Italy, who really put it about. A shout for Peter Omani, who was tough as teak. But Charles Olivon is just one of the best players in the world. One of my favourite players. Just an incredible specimen of a man. And I said it in a video last week, and I'll say it again now. He just has the look, doesn't he? Just the look at him. He's just got like Hollywood looks. 6'7" frame. He just looks like the kind of guy you can imagine lifting a World Cup trophy. He's incredible. Open side flanker Josh van der Fleer. There was a few other contenders. I thought Francois Crowe for France was absolutely brilliant. Really, really rate him. But Josh van der Fleer, he can do it all. Look, he stood there thrown into the line-out, as we saw last week. So, yeah, he was just industrious, massive engine on him, and a real all-round player. Dangerous at the breakdown, good carrier, just a great rugby brain. So he is my open side flanker in a team of the tournament. Again, Michele Lamaro should get a mention too. Caelan Doris is number 8. Gregory Aldrit finished strong for France, but Caelan Doris, although he had to be taken off early when, didn't he? Was it? Oh no, I'm thinking of Aldrit. I'm thinking of Aldrit got taken off after 12 minutes when France had to take a player off. Was that? Yeah, is that because of a yellow card? Anyway, I'm confusing myself now. Caelan Doris, immense, absolutely immense, an all-round player, and I love that picture of him there because it just highlights in one shot the kind of player Caelan Doris is. He will attract defenders because he's dangerous. He's just a dangerous player, but he's just a heads-up rugby player. He's always looking for the offload to put someone else into space, and just a classy player. Love Caelan Doris, one of my favourite rugby players. Into the backs then, that's the forwards wrapped up. What are you making of it so far? So far, so good? What have we got there? 1 Scot, 4 Irishmen and 3 Frenchmen. Is that right? I think that might be right. Might even be 5 Irishmen. Anyway, moving into the backs. Definitely a Frenchman here. No surprises. Antoine Dupont. We are living in the age right now of probably the best scrum half that's ever played the game, which is saying something when you think of the legends that have played rugby in the past, even going back to people like Gareth Edwards in the pre-professional era. But even in the professional era, you've got guys like George Gregan, and this guy is on another level. It's almost not fair to call him world class because he's that much better than anybody else that he kind of needs a category all of his own. He is... I feel privileged to have watched him play. I can remember, actually, I worked on a game it was at the RDS, and it was Leinster playing Cast. And if you're a Leinster fan, maybe you remember going to this game. We're probably talking 5-6 years ago now. And I was working for BT Sport, and Antoine Dupont was a youngster who was just coming into the Cast team. And I remember then just chatting to the Cast coaches. One of them was an English guy called Joe Alabd, who I went to university with. And I was just like, this guy looks incredible. And he was like, honestly, he's the best player I've ever seen at his age. And he... just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous player. Fly half Johnny Sexton. Roman Untermatt was good. Finn Russell was great, but he's prone to an erratic moment. He does the sublime and the ridiculous. Johnny Sexton, just metronomically reliable, and very fitting that in probably his final ever Six Nations game, he goes and breaks the Six Nations point scoring record, wins a Triple Crown, Grand Slam, Championship, king of everything in Dublin right now, and deservedly so. He had a great tournament. Left wing, Duhan van der Merwe. I thought James Lowe was good in some games. I thought Mac Hansen was great as a winger option as well. Who else was good on the wings? Who else did I like? No, those are probably the ones that I'd say are the big contenders when you look around the teams. But Duhan van der Merwe, incredible individual moments. And again, talk about freakish specimens. Look no further. I think he beat more defenders than anyone. He carries for more yards. And he does it consistently. He's a proper weapon. Gael Fickou. I moved him. I know he wears 13 generally for France, but I moved him into 12 because he is that good. And he can play, and he has played 12 plenty in international rugby. He's just a classy guy. Glue. He's one of those players that's just the glue that holds everything together. And he is for France what Gary Ringrose is for Ireland. Just everything seems so much more solid. Defence, you never really worry about. Just makes everyone around him better. So Gael Fickou is my 12. And Hugh Jones of Scotland is my 13. He's had a brilliant tournament. After being out in the wilderness a little bit, he has come back, and he's been a big part of the reason why Scotland are the best of the rest outside of Ireland and France. Cracking tournament. On the right wing, Damien Penaud is absolutely world class. Probably the best winger in the world. Just thinking of people like Cheslin Colby and stuff. No, he's probably the best winger in the world. He just makes things happen. And even when you think he's having a quiet game, he'll still go and nail 2 scores when they need it. He's just an awesome player. Love watching Damien Penaud. And fullback, Thomas Ramos. Could well have been Hugo Keenan, who was fantastic early in the tournament, strong throughout. But I think Ramos was outplayed by Keenan in that Ireland-France game, it has to be said. However, Ramos has been imperious generally, and across the 5 games, he's been an ever-present, and he's got good players nipping at his heels in that French side, and against England in particular, he was on another level. So that is the 15 team of the tournament, as far as I see it. Tell me what you think. And it tells a story in itself, doesn't it? That you've got 2 teams who are out on their own as the best 2, who are just, and how many have we got there? 6 Irishmen and 6 Frenchmen. There you go. There's not a lot to pick between those 2 teams. 6 Irishmen, 6 Frenchmen, 3 Scots. They are the best of the rest. Wales, England, Italy are some margin behind. And yeah, I was thinking from an England fan point of view, which Englishman came closest to being selected in that team? I suppose you could argue Freddie Stewart at fullback. And Ellis Genge at loosehead prop, perhaps. Other than that, there's no one really had a sniff, to be perfectly honest. So, sad state of affairs from an England point of view and a Wales point of view. Italy, there's a couple of players got mentioned. Lamaro and Rutzer, the lock, and Lorenzo Canoni, the number 8, and Negri. They're 4 players that had really good games. Capuozzo obviously didn't get to play most of the tournament. But there you go. There's my team of the tournament. As for, and I'm just going to, I'm going to pick 3 players that are my best players for the tournament. And I might just get rid of myself for this bit and build up a bit of tension as you're waiting. Here we go. The 3 players of the tournament are, in reverse order, 3rd best, Thibaut Flamont. Rangy, athletic, great line-out forward and try scorer. And, France were worried about how their second row might go, and he gave them a lot of confidence. Thibaut Flamont. And also, it gives the commentators an excuse to mention the fact he was once the 5th team fly half for Loughborough University, which they always mention. Number 2, Charles Ollivon. Absolutely imperious player. Love him, love him, love him. And number 1, player of the tournament for me, Antoine Dupont, again. He is that good. And that 50-22 he got, that might even be where he's kicking it there. Or did he kick it off his left foot for that one? He kicked it with his wrong foot, 50-22. He is just playing on another level, and you've got to absolutely love him. So Antoine Dupont, player of the tournament. That's as I see it. And that maybe tells a story in itself as well. The fact you've got 3, 2, and 1, all French players. No Irish player was the player of the tournament, but they were the best team. And that tells you a little bit about looking forward to the World Cup, where the balance of power may lie. France may have, probably do have, more star quality, a bit more stardust to call upon. Ireland have this incredible resolve, and they are better collectively than the sum of their parts, which is what makes them such a special rugby team. There's my thoughts. Team of the tournament, players of the tournament. What do you make of that? Leave your comments, hit subscribe. I'll see you on the next video.